Hello and welcome to Daily News Simplified, an answer to what, why and how of newspaper reading. Today we will discuss the articles displayed on the screen from the Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper dated 21st July 2019. So let us start our discussion. Now, in continuation of our series of questions that appeared in the preliminary examination of 2019, let us take up this question. So this reads that under which schedule of the Constitution of India can the transfer of tribal land to private parties for mining be declared null and void? The correct answer here was B, that is 5th schedule. And in the Daily News Simplified of 11th February 2019, we have discussed various provisions of the PISA Act of 1996 or the salient features of the Panchayats extension to the Scheduled Areas Act 1996. And in this discussion, it has been clearly mentioned that the Gram Sabhas or the Panchayats in the PISA Act of 1996 have the power to resettlement and rehabilitation and prospecting licenses or mining leases for minor minerals. And they also have the power to prevent alienation of land and restore the alienated land. So this means that the Gram Sabhas have the power to decide which land should be diverted from the tribal areas, and also they have the power to declare any land which has been diverted to the private parties as null and void. And as it has been clearly mentioned that this PISA Act of 1996 is applicable to the 5th schedule. So this means that under the 5th schedule, the transfer of tribal land to private parties for mining can be declared null and void. Now after this, let us start our discussion of the newspaper. Now this article on page number 14 talks about the blockchain technology which is used in the cryptocurrency. So this will form a part of the General Studies paper 3 under the topic technology. Now blockchain has emerged as a very important technology, and further it has applications in various fields, and it is also very important because it is one of the most secure technology as far as the digital transactions or various ledger keeping practices are concerned. So in this article, we will try to understand what is the blockchain technology, what are its key applications, and what are the challenges or the hype about the blockchain technology. And all these aspects can be important for us from the preliminary as well as mains examination point of view. Now the blockchain has been in news for past few years because of its application in the cryptocurrency. However, recently, as we all know, that RBI banned the cryptocurrency in India. And that is why now various companies are trying to explore the areas where the blockchain technology can be used. Now this article is pretty simple to understand and is very self-explanatory in nature. So from this article, we have taken all the important points and we will discuss them one by one. So first in this line is what is blockchain technology? So this simply allows designing a secure way to record transactions and circulate it among the signatories, and especially those who are connected with the internet. Further, it is an extremely democratic ledger that cannot be arbitrarily manipulated and is easily shareable. Now here we should understand that a ledger simply means a book where all the economic transactions or any other transactions are recorded. So simply blockchain is also a way of keeping economic records. However, it is not just restricted to keeping the records of economic transaction, and it has applications way beyond the economic transaction bookkeeping. So which simply means that this record of economic transactions or the ledger is not under the control of a single authority, but the control of this ledger under a blockchain is evenly distributed, and that is why the term democratic ledger has been used in the context of blockchain technology. So as it reads, it allows designing a secure way. So one of the characteristics of blockchain technology is that it is secure. And why is it secure? Because it is democratic in nature and it is circulated among the various members who become the part of the community for which the transactions are being recorded. And that is why it cannot be easily manipulated. And one of the characteristics is that it is easily shareable. So now we will try to understand all these aspects when we learn about how does this blockchain technology actually work. So blockchain is simply a chain which develops because of interconnected blocks of transactions. And each block in a blockchain is a record of transactions, as we have learned earlier. Now, what is the importance of these blocks in a blockchain? So these blocks are great and important because they provide unalterable document of history of every transaction. So since these blocks contain the record of transactions and these blocks cannot be easily altered, that is why they provide a very secure platform online. For example, in the context of cryptocurrency, these blocks in the blockchain store the place, time, value and location of a purchase. Now each of these blocks which are part of the blockchain have a unique digital signature, and every block is distinguished from the another through a unique code. And this unique code is also called as hash. And simply this hash is a string of numbers. Now let us understand this concept by the use of some pictures. So every block is a record of transaction, and these blocks are interconnected in a chained manner. And that is why they have been termed as blockchain. And once a data is stored in a block, it becomes very difficult to change this information. Now what all information is present in these blocks? So this block simply has data. Further, it has an identification code which is known as hash, which is a string of numbers generally. And also every block in the blockchain has a record of the previous blocks. For example, this block, which is a part of this simple blockchain, will have its own hash as well as the hash of the previous block. And that is how if you change any information in this particular block, it will be reflected in all other blocks. And that is why it becomes very difficult to change the information that is recorded in the blocks. So simply this hash is a string of numbers, and it is like a unique fingerprint. And as we know that these fingerprints are unique to every person, so similarly this hash or the string of numbers is unique for every block in the blockchain. And as we have learned that every block has the hash of the previous block as well. So for example, as you can see in this block, the first block is known as the Genesis block, and it does not have any previous hash. However, the second block has a hash of its own and also the hash of the previous block, as can be seen in this picture. So 1Z8F, which is the hash of first block, is also a part of the identification information of the second block. And similarly, the second block's hash information is also present in the information of the block third. So if anybody tries to change the hash information of any of the blocks, it will be reflected in all other blocks. Similarly, all these informations will be present in the subsequent blocks as well. And that is why any alteration or change in the information of a block will be reflected throughout the chain. And that is what makes it a very secure system of recording transactions. Now, what is the mechanism which makes this blockchain tamper-proof or secure in nature? So one of the mechanism or the approach is known as the proof of work mechanism. Now what is meant by this proof of work mechanism? Now let us take the example of cryptocurrency, and if a new block has to be added to the existing blockchain, it will take around 10 minutes for processing. Now as this block has been added at the end of the chain, that is why it will only take 10 minutes. However, if alteration or change is done in a block which is already a part of the chain, it will take around 10 minutes. And similarly, this change of information in all the blocks which are connected to this block will also take 10 minutes. And that is how this process will become very long enough, and that is how it discourages the tampering of the information of the blocks. So simply you should understand that adding a new block at the end of the chain is easy because it will take only 10 minutes in case of cryptocurrency. However, if alteration is done on any block which lies in between the chain, this information will have to be changed for all the subsequent blocks. And that is how the time which is required for the change of information will be prolonged. And this is because millions of blocks are connected in one single blockchain. So that is how the proof of work mechanism secures the blockchain from any alteration or change. Now another important feature of the blockchain which makes it very secure is that it is democratic and distributed in nature. Now simply for example, if you take the example of currency in India, Reserve Bank of India is the central authority which controls all the circulation of currency in India. So if any alteration has to be done, it has to be done with the Reserve Bank of India, which is the central authority. However, what differentiates the blockchain technology from the earlier used centralized technology is that it works on the principle of peer-to-peer network. So when one person joins this blockchain, he has full information about the whole blockchain. However, as we have learned in the case of RBI, only the RBI has all the information. However, all the banks which are connected to the RBI might not have the full information which is available with the RBI. So all the members who are connected in this peer-to-peer network have all full information of the total blockchain of which they are a part. So if someone tries to create a new block in this blockchain, this information will be sent to every one of the member who is a part of this blockchain. And each member or each node will now verify the information that is provided by this block, and only when it is verified by all the nodes which are present in the network, it will be added to the blockchain. So simply all the members or all the computer nodes in this case verify the information and build a consensus regarding the addition of new block. And that is how it becomes democratic and evenly distributed. And that is exactly the reason that such blockchains are very secure and are unalterable or changeable in nature. And also, if any person tries to change any information in this blockchain, it will be sent for verification to all other members or all other nodes in this blockchain. So if any of these members or nodes reject this addition or change in the information of blockchains, it cannot be reflected in the total blockchains. And that is how change is not easy in such blockchain networks. Now, as we have learned through the pictures that the blockchain technology is democratic and works through a peer-to-peer network where any change or any addition of the blocks is sent to all the computers or the nodes which are connected to this blockchain. So now how these computers verify such information which is provided in the new block or through a change in the blocks? So these computers verify the genuineness of a transaction by solving mathematical problems. And these mathematical problems can only be done through brute force, energy intensive ways which require a lot of computational powers and electricity. So even the verification process under a peer-to-peer network is not easy. So all these mechanisms, that is the proof of work mechanism and this peer-to-peer network verification, makes this blockchain technology very secure in nature. And that is why this technology is being looked upon positively by all the companies around the world. And it provides for widespread application of this technology in various fields. So after this, let us understand what are the potential applications of the blockchain work and where it is being presently used. Now this application part of any technology becomes particularly important for us from the preliminary examination point of view. And if you go through the paper of 2018, there was a question related to the application of 3D printing technology. So similarly, you can expect a question regarding the applications of blockchain technology. Now, first and foremost, the Facebook has launched Libra, which is a kind of blockchain-backed digital currency. Further, the blockchain technology is also being tested as a replacement for paper-based and manual transaction processing. And in all areas like trade, finance, foreign exchange, cross-border settlement, and securities settlement. So it has applications in all these fields. Further, there is a startup by the name Ethereum, which is a blockchain-based startup. And it aims to decentralize all the information which is available information. So what are the likely benefits of decentralizing the information which is available online? So it claims that by decentralizing the online information, it will give users the control over their own data, and which will be different from the present scenario where all the personal data of the people who are present on the internet is stored or restricted to important multinational giants like Google and Amazon servers. And that is how it has raised the concerns of privacy regarding our data. So once this blockchain technology is applied to all the information that is available online, every person that is present on the network will be able to protect his or her information. And it will not be saved only with centralized companies like Google, Amazon, etc. Further, this blockchain technology will help in tracing the origin of the food, where it is grown. So it will give you a full chain of information regarding where the food was grown, where it was processed, where it was packaged, and what all alteration has been done in it before it comes to the market. And finally, it claims to check the menace of false news. And that is why it has applications in journalism and in fact-checking applications. Now, as we all know that false news has become a very big menace and is also a threat to the security of India as well. And majority of the cases of mob lynching and mob violence have been because of the rumors that are circulated on the social media networks. So that is why the application of blockchain in fact-checking applications become extremely important. So these are some of the fields where the application of blockchain is being tested, and that is why they are very important in nature. Now, after understanding some of the aspects of the blockchain technology, one of the important aspects for mains examination is the challenge which is posed by the use or introduction of blockchain technology. So first and foremost is that application of technology which is a path-breaking technology will prove to be disruptive. And this is because it will create new opportunities for some people and it will destroy the jobs and opportunities for some other. So this technology will be disruptive in nature and will create opportunities for some people and will also destroy for other ones. Now, similar disruption was witnessed when the internet started, and particularly the TCP or the Transmission Control Protocol or the Internet Protocol led to the foundation of email, websites, etc. So that was one of the path-breaking technology at that point of time. So similarly, blockchain is also another path-breaking technology, and that is why it will cause widespread disruption. Now, one of the most important attractiveness for the blockchain is that it aims to destroy the intermediaries like banks, courts, lawyers, etc. For example, as we have learned in the case of cryptocurrency, there will be no need for a centralized authority. This is because there will be a peer-to-peer checking network or verification network, and which will be available with everyone. So that will be a democratic authority system, and that will be different from the centralized authority system. So that is why it aims at destroying the intermediaries like banks, etc. And that is also one of the biggest challenges, because all these institutions which are huge in nature, for example the courts, lawyers or the banks, will not allow such a technology to enter this arena. Further, various economists have theorized that blockchain has its own vulnerabilities and susceptibility to creating new hegemons, power networks, cartels and challenges to the global energy consumption. So by this it simply means that it will create new hegemons or powerful people or powerful organizations at the global level. And also there are chances of creation of cartels, who will be a group of companies or networks who will control all the information in the blockchains. So these are some of the concerns which have been raised by the economists. And all these are important challenges to the introduction of blockchain technology and can be very important for us from the mains examination point of view. So all these aspects can be important for us from the exam point of view related to the blockchain technology. And now let's move on to the next article. Now this article on page number 9 is related to the ban on colistin which is used in animal food industry. So this will form a part of the General Studies paper 3 in the part technology, and it will be important for us from preliminary examination point of view. So let us understand what is colistin, where it is used and what are the concerns regarding the use of colistin. Now, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has issued an order prohibiting the manufacture, sale and distribution of colistin and its formations for food producing animals, poultry, aqua farming and animal feed supplements. And this order has directed that it should not be used in food producing animals, poultry, etc. And you should note that colistin is a critical antibiotic used to treat severe forms of bacterial infection. So regarding colistin, you should note that it is listed as a high priority critically important antibiotic in the WHO's list of critically important antimicrobials for human medicine. And being a HPCIA, it implies that colistin is the sole or one of the limited available therapies to treat serious bacterial infections in persons. Further, it is used as a last resort drug against the multi-drug resistant infections, and that is why it is very important. So if this colistin is used in food producing animals in the animal husbandry, this can enter the food chain of the people, and that is how it can create multi-drug resistance in people. And that is why the ministry has issued this order to ban the use of colistin. Further, it has also been marked as a reserved drug by the WHO, which means that it should only be used as a last resort when all other antibiotics have failed. So the main purpose of banning colistin is to fight the menace of multi-drug resistance in people. And as it is being widely used in the animal husbandry, especially for those animals which are food producing, it increases the risk of development of multi-drug resistance against antibiotics in people. So the points which are important are that Colistin is used as a last resort drug against multi-drug resistance, and also that it is being used widely in the animal husbandry and especially in food producing animals, and that increases the risk of increasing multi-drug resistance in people. So these points are important for us from preliminary examination point of view, and with this let's move to the next article. This article on page number 14 is related to LIGO, or the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, which is being developed in India. So this will form part of the General Studies paper 3 under Technology, and some of the aspects are important for preliminary examination as well. Now LIGO has been in news continuously for past few years, and this is because recently in 2015 gravitational waves were detected at two LIGO observatories in the United States of America. And these gravitational waves are produced by the merger of black holes. And this was asked in the preliminary examination of 2019. So the question read, recently scientists observed the merger of giant black holes billions of light years away from the Earth. What is the significance of this observation? So the correct answer was that gravitational waves were detected by the merger of these giant black holes. So the points that we need to understand here is, what are the LIGO detectors? What is the need for India to create another detector or the LIGO detector? Also, why do we study the gravitational waves? And some points regarding the Indian LIGO observatory. So what does the acronym LIGO stand for? So it stands for Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. Now the technology by which this interferometer observes the gravitational waves is not important for us. However, what is important is that LIGO tries and observes the gravitational waves in the space. Now, what is the need to have another detector in India or another LIGO detector in India? So here you should note that presently there are only 3 LIGO detectors around the world. And out of these, 2 are in USA and 1 is in Europe. Now, due to such limited numbers of LIGO detectors, there is huge uncertainty in determining where in the sky the disturbance came from, or where did the gravitational wave originate. So by creating more number of LIGO detectors or observatories, observations from these new detectors in far off positions will help in locating the source of gravitational waves more accurately. So that is one of the purpose of creating a LIGO detector in India. Now, why do we study gravitational waves? So here it should be understood that it is a largely unknown and fundamental phenomena. And gravitational waves are interesting to scientists because these are produced by the merging of black holes. And simply the black holes are created at the end stage of the life cycle of a star. So simply when a star dies, it becomes a black hole. And you would be knowing that recently the image or the first image of the black hole was released by NASA. And this particular aspect was also asked in our preliminary examination. And by studying the gravitational waves, it offers a new way to map out or understand the universe. And the ultimate aim of studying the gravitational waves is to understand the origin and evolution of the universe. Now, where in India is the LIGO observatory being created? So it is being created or constructed in the Hingoli district of Maharashtra. And it is a part of INDIGO, which is the Indian Initiative in Gravitational Wave Observations, which is an initiative to set up advanced experimental facilities for multi-level institutions. So only all these aspects are important for preliminary, and one of the questions has already been asked in the preliminary of 2019. With this, let's move to the next article. Now this infographic on page number 3 by the Election Commission of India is regarding the transparency in the use of EVM and the VVPAT system. And in this infographic, the Election Commission has clarified the procedure which is used before the elections in India, and how are the EVMs used, and how the trust of various political parties is ensured. And in the year 2018, in the mains examination, there was a question which read, in the light of recent controversy regarding the use of electronic voting machines, what are the challenges before the Election Commission of India to ensure the trustworthiness of elections in India? So in this line, the Election Commission is providing various clarifications regarding the myths which are floating around the EVMs and the VVPAT machines. So in answering all such questions, you can use the points which have been highlighted in such infographics. And in one of the previous DNS videos, we have already done some of the information which was provided by the Election Commission of India regarding the EVMs and VVPATs. So in this, we will try to understand what all points have been raised in this infographic, and will also revise the video in which we have covered the various aspects of EVMs and VVPATs and how these are ensuring free and fair elections in India. So how are the EVMs safe and how the Election Commission ensures the trustworthiness of using the EVMs and VVPATs in our election? So in this line, the ECI highlights that each EVM machine is checked and sealed in the presence of political parties and their representatives sign on this seal. Secondly, all EVMs are allotted to the constituencies and polling stations randomly. Thirdly, till the nominations are filed for the elections, no one can predict which button on the EVM will be allotted to which candidate, as the candidates are arranged in an alphabetical order. So the allocation of button on the EVM to a particular candidate is not clarified till the nominations are filed. Further, the serial number of every EVM machine which is used for polling is shared with the candidates themselves. Also, before actual polling starts, a mock poll is conducted in which the polling agents of every candidate themselves vote. And then they see the results on the EVM and count 100% VVPAT slips, and then only actual poll starts after their certification. And even in the present 2019 election, more than 1 crore polling agents of candidates certified the machines themselves. Further, after the polls, all agents seal and sign the machine and tally the serial number of the machine before counting. And this ensures the transparency and accountability of the EVM machines to all the political party candidates, so that they cannot accuse the Election Commission and the faulty functioning of EVMs for their losses. Further, these electronic voting machines have a robust administrative and security protocol which cannot be breached by anyone. And by all these measures or steps taken by the Election Commission of India, it increases the trustworthiness of the EVMs in the elections in India. Now after this, let us revise one of the videos of DNS where we have discussed various clarifications by the Election Commission of India regarding the EVMs and the VVPATs. So to increase the trustworthiness of EVM or VVPAT, the Election Commission has said that about 113 general elections of state assemblies and 3 Lok Sabha elections in about 10 lakh polling booths or polling stations have been successfully conducted through the EVMs since 2000. So this is an important fact which increases the trust in the use of EVMs. This shows that we have successfully chosen 3 governments at center by use of EVM machines during the general elections. Further, the ECI says that with the introduction of voter verifiable paper audit trial or the VVPAT, the trust of voters in the EVMs has been strengthened. And regarding the VVPAT, the Election Commission of India says that it is an independent printer system attached with the electronic voting machines that allows the voters to verify that their votes are cast as intended. Which means that by the use of VVPAT printer system, a voter can identify if his vote has gone correctly to the party which he had chosen during the voting process. Now, the Election Commission of India has tried to remove various myths related to the VVPAT system. In this, the first myth that has been highlighted by the Election Commission of India is that the VVPAT slips are collected by the voter. Now, the Election Commission of India in this regard says that it is incorrect because the VVPAT slips cannot be touched by a voter. However, they are visible to the voter for 7 seconds behind a transparent screen, and at the end of which these voter slips fall into a sealed compartment in the VVPAT. The second myth that has been highlighted by the ECI is that the VVPAT print will not last more than 15 to 30 days. The ECI says that this myth is also incorrect, and in this regard the ECI says that the print is on a thermal paper and it lasts for more than 5 years and not just for 15 to 30 days. Now the third myth regarding the VVPAT is that the VVPAT takes photo of the voter, thereby compromising the secrecy of the votes. In this regard, the Election Commission of India says that this myth is also incorrect because the VVPAT has no camera and it can't take any photograph of the voter. Highlighting the fourth myth, the Election Commission of India says that the Election Commission does not have requisite number of VVPATs for use in all polling stations for the election to Lok Sabha to be held in 2019. However, the ECI says that ECI is committed to 100% deployment of VVPATs with EVMs at all polling stations in all future elections to the Parliament and state legislative assemblies. So the ECI says that the VVPATs shall be available as per the requirement. The fifth myth related to the VVPATs that has been highlighted by this article is that the large number of VVPATs stop working, resulting in stoppage of polls. The ECI has said that it is incorrect and there have been some instances of VVPATs stopping during polls. However, adequate reserves are provided for replacing such faulty VVPATs. Further highlighting that EVMs are an improvement over the ballot system, the Election Commission of India says that the EVMs have ended the days of booth capturing and the delays and errors in counting of ballot papers. Further, the ECI or the Election Commission says that the counting is now over in about 3 to 6 hours, whereas earlier it used to take about 24 to 48 hours. Thirdly, the Election Commission of India says that earlier during the times of ballot paper, large number of votes in each assembly constituency ended up being invalid. And this was higher than the winning margin in several elections. However, with the usage of EVMs, no vote gets invalidated. And the source which the Election Commission has highlighted is the study conducted by the Indian School of Business or IAS. And regarding the authenticity and secrecy of the EVMs and VVPATs, the Election Commission says that the EVMs and VVPATs are manufactured only at two premium PSUs. The first is the Electronics Corporation of India Limited (ECIL), and the second is the Bharat Electronics Limited or the BEL. And further, these EVMs and VVPATs are manufactured under the technical expertise of an independent technical expert committee and the supervision of Election Commission, making them absolutely tamper-proof. Which means that EVMs and VVPATs are tamper-proof as they are conducted under the surveillance or the supervision of Election Commission of India. And highlighting the usage of VVPATs, the Election Commission of India has said that the VVPATs have been used in 933 state assembly constituencies and 18 parliamentary constituencies. Further, the ECI says that till date, VVPATs have been used in all assembly constituencies at 100% polling stations during the General Assembly elections in 7 states of Goa, Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Tripura and Karnataka, which were held in 2017 and 18. So various points have been highlighted by the Election Commission of India to remove various myths that are circulating among the people of India. And the Election Commission of India has been conducting this campaign to generate awareness and increase the trust of Indian people and the Indian electorate in the electronic voting machines and the usage of VVPATs. So all these points can be used in writing the question that was asked in the year 2018 in the General Studies paper 2 of the mains examination. With this, let us move on to the next article. This article on page number 14 talks about the House panels or the various parliamentary standing committees. And this will form a part of the General Studies paper 2 under the topic Governance and Constitution. So recently, after the constitution of Lok Sabha after the elections, 22 bills were introduced in the parliament. And out of these 22 bills, 11 have been passed in this ongoing session, which makes this session one of the most productive sessions in many years of parliament's functioning. However, the catch is that these bills have been passed without scrutiny by the parliamentary standing committees. And this has raised a concern regarding the functioning and what is the role of these parliamentary committees. So in this background, let us understand key aspects of the parliamentary committees which are formed in the Parliament of India. Now, whenever a bill is introduced in the parliament, it is generally referred to the parliamentary standing committees. After the formation of 17th Lok Sabha, parliamentary standing committees have not been formed till now. And this is because various political parties have not reached a consensus regarding the formation of these committees. And that is why many of the bills have been passed in the parliament without the scrutiny of these committees. So first, let us understand what is the role of parliamentary committees in lawmaking. Now, as we all know that Parliament being the most important representative body of India, it has variety of works and it not just deals with the lawmaking thing. That is why in such a scenario where the lawmakers have limited amount of time in the Parliament, detailed discussion on various bills is not possible. And that is where the role of parliamentary committees comes in. And these committees, which are specifically formed for discussion on various bills which are introduced in Parliament, provide for detailed discussion. And this helps in more open, intensive and better informed discussions regarding various aspects of a bill which is introduced in the Parliament. Further, in the Parliament, when the voting is going on, the parliamentarians are bound by the whips of the political parties, which means that the parliamentarians cannot take a stand opposite to that of the political party. However, the committee meetings are conducted in closed door, which means that the members who are part of these committees are not bound by the party whips, and that is why it allows for an open discussion on the various aspects of a bill. Further, in the modern times, the lawmaking is becoming increasingly complex. That is why these members require the assistance of experts in dealing with such situations. So, for example, the Aadhaar bill was introduced in the parliament, and this dealt with the issue of privacy of the citizens of India. So, to handle such important situations, these members of parliament require the assistance of experts, and it is through these committees that such expertise is provided to the lawmakers in the parliament. So, these parliamentary committees can take help of the experts in various fields, and that is how it makes the lawmaking process more comprehensive and broad-based. Further, various parliamentary committees also help in making executive accountable to the legislature. Now, as we all know that the executive in the parliament are held accountable through various questions in the parliament, and also by various motions like the adjournment motion and the no confidence motion. However, these department standing committees go one step further, and they hear from various officials of the government in closed settings, and this allows for more detailed discussion. And one extra benefit of this is that it enables parliamentarians to understand the executive process closely. So it is also a mechanism to make the parliamentarians learn the parliamentary process. Now, after this, let us understand what are the types of parliamentary committees. Now, one of them is the department related standing committees, and these committees are permanent in nature, and these are usually reconstituted on an annual basis. Further, the other type of committees are the select committees, which are created for specific purposes. For example, to deliberate on a particular bill, etc. Now, the department related standing committees are generally formed to discuss and debate the budget in detail. So, after the budget speech, various provisions of the budget are scrutinized by these department related standing committees. And as far as select committees are concerned, these are only created for specific purposes, and they are not permanent in nature and are not constituted annually. Now, a bill in a parliament can be considered by the department related standing committee or a select committee which is specifically set up for the discussion on a bill. However, it is the discretion of speaker to refer a matter to a parliamentary committee, be it the standing committee or the select committee which is created for a bill. So, for example, if a bill is introduced in the parliament related to the education sector, the speaker can send this bill to the department related standing committee of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, or it can create a specific select committee for discussion on that bill. So it is the discretion of the speaker if she wants to refer a matter to a department related standing committee or to a select committee. Besides these two types of committees, there are three important financial committees, and these are Public Accounts Committee, the Estimates Committee, and the Committee on Public Undertakings. Now, all these have been explained in detail in the M. Lakshmikant book of Indian Polity. So, you should read that book and understand the various aspects of the parliamentary committee, who all are the members of these committees, and what are the important functions and roles of these committees. So, let us understand what are the constitutional provisions related to the parliamentary committees. So, these committees draw their authority from Article 105, which is related to the privileges of the parliament members, and Article 118, which relates to the Parliament's authority to make rules for regulating its procedure and conduct of business. Now, after detailed discussion regarding the various provisions of the bills which are introduced in Parliament, these committees return to the House these bills with significant value addition. However, an important point to be noted here is that Parliament is not bound by the recommendations of these committees. So this means that the recommendations of these committees are advisory in nature and they are not binding on the members of parliament. Regarding various detailed provisions of the parliamentary committees, you can go through the chapter of parliamentary committees in M. Lakshmikant book of Polity. After going through today's discussion, you should try and answer these questions, and the answer for them will be displayed after 5 seconds. So the first question reads, which of the following have application of blockchain technology? So as discussed earlier, it has application in cryptocurrency, tracing the origin of food, and fact checking of online information. So the correct answer is D, that is 1, 2 and 3. The second question reads, Colistin was recently banned by the government. It is related to which of the following? So as we have learned, it is an antibiotic which is widely used in the food producing animal husbandry. You should further try both these questions and the answer will be displayed after 5 seconds. So this question reads, consider the following statements, and the first is that LIGO observatory set up in India will be the 4th such observatory across the world. This statement is correct because there are already 2 observatories in the United States of America and 1 is in Europe. So this will be the 4th in the world. The second statement is that it is being set up in the state of Tamil Nadu, which is incorrect because it is being set up in the state of Maharashtra. So the correct answer here is A, that is 1 only. The fourth question reads, which of the following are correct about the EVMs or the electronic voting machines? First statement is that they are manufactured in both public as well as private sector, which is incorrect because they are manufactured only in public sector by 2 PSUs, and they are the Electronics Corporation of India Limited, that is the ECIL, and the Bharat Electronics Limited or the BEL. The second statement reads, VVPAT slips are collected by the voters as a proof of voting, which is also incorrect. Hence the correct answer is D. And the second statement is incorrect because the voters are not allowed to collect the VVPAT slips. However, they are only displayed while voting just for 7 seconds. With this, we have come to the end of today's discussion. Now let's move on to the question for the day.